So we're here today with Dave Kaletski from Datapay. Datapay, if you don't know, is an endorsed partner of the CRA as our payroll provider. They've been tremendous supporters of the Connecticut Restaurant Association for many years, and of course, restaurants and other businesses across Connecticut. I was just speaking with Dave, and we looked back at least more than 10 years with Datapay as the endorsed partner for payroll provider for the Connecticut Restaurant Association. And also one thing I want to note, Dave, you were the 2017 Vendor of the Year for the Connecticut Restaurant Association. And I know how proud you are of that recognition, and we just appreciate everything that you do. I do want to turn it over to you in a second, but just some of you may have met Dave if you're not already a client, but we did earlier this year compliance seminars that we hosted across the state. And Dave served on that panel to provide insight and answer questions on various HR and payroll compliance questions. So Dave, thank you so much for being here today. I'm hoping you can give us an idea of the value that you provide as an amazing payroll provider here in Connecticut, some of the value that you provide to your clients, but also some of the tools and resources that you've made available as with the start of COVID, and how those tools can help some of our restaurants get through these next coming months. So turning it over to you, Dave.
All right, terrific. Well, thank you, Yvette, for having me this morning. It's a privilege to be part of this and be a part of such a great association like the CRA. Just to give you a little background, Datapay Payroll, we've been in business over 40 years. We are a local company in Farmington. And we have a couple other offices throughout New England as well as the US. So we have about 5 offices. And we just pride ourselves on just being a local company with hands-on, personalized service. If you're a customer of ours, when you call us, we're familiar with your account. We know who you are. We know how your payroll runs in comparison to another company. We generally assign 1 or 2 people in our office to your account. We're very lucky that we don't have a lot of turnover of our staff, knock on wood. And, that just translates into just an excellent customer service experience. We want to understand your business and the intricacies across your business. And, it also feeds into accuracy. We pride ourselves on just excellent customer service, accuracy, and technology, which I'm going to get into in a second. And then we're also generally 30 to 40% less expensive than some of our competitors, which is always great. And we don't charge for a lot of things. We don't charge for W-2s at the end of the year, which in the restaurant industry can be a big bill. You have to file a W-2 on someone if they work one day or they work all year. So that W-2 bill really can escalate. And that's something that we have never charged for and we'll never charge for.
Dave, I want to just jump in real quickly because that's a really important point. I know that you do that all the time. But that's also a really great thing to point out, because as restaurants are going through these next coming months, anything that they can save and anywhere that they can save makes a really big difference. So we appreciate that as a company, that's just part of your core values. So we appreciate that you make that available.
Definitely. And, we're just so proud to be part of the Restaurant Association. Like you mentioned, Yvette, we've been endorsed as the only payroll provider for over a decade. And we were just thrilled to be honored as the 2017 Vendor of the Year from the Connecticut Restaurant Association. So, we just love your industry. We love working with restaurants. We work with over 700 restaurants in Connecticut and neighboring states. We feel like we understand your industry and how restaurants work. We have great technology for allowing for many different job codes in a restaurant. We know that you have multiple pay rates, and so our technology is built so that it's a very easy entry to get payroll done, which I'll get into in a second. In addition to that, we pride ourselves on doing tip credit reporting and all the other things that restaurants need. We obviously have a ton of restaurants as clients, so we've been able to build the technology to be suited for any and all restaurants. So in conclusion, we just pride ourselves on just great service, great accuracy, great technology, and we're generally 30 to 40% less than our competition. Now, with the COVID, in 2020, we've been very proactive in building reports and functionality for our clients. And what I wanted to just go over real quick is, so when people applied for the PPP loan, we were very proactive in building a report that people could furnish to their bank that gave gross wages for certain time periods, so that the bank could underwrite the loan. And the other thing that our report took into consideration is it added in Connecticut unemployment tax, because that is being taken into consideration, as well as 401k and medical deductions. So we were proactive at building this report back in March and April, so that restaurants could go to their local bank and get the funding. And then what we were able to build, and I'm going to show you here real quick, is now that people have started to use the PPP money, we built this report for all our clients and restaurant clients, where now they can go to the bank and get their forgiveness through the bank. So what I wanted to do is real quick just show you the report. So basically, and this is a scan copy, so obviously it looks prettier than this, but what we need from you is we just need to know your loan date, or the day that the bank deposited the money in your bank account. Now, when this first came out, of course, we all know that they based it off 8 weeks. You had to spend the money in 8 weeks. And then they recently extended that, so now you have 24 weeks to spend the money. So what we've been able to do with this report is we load in your loan date, and then this report is furnished to you every week or every 2 weeks, depending upon how your payroll runs. And it just keeps you in line with spending the dollars for the PPP loan. So you'll notice that all the employees are loaded in. It shows wages for this particular period. And then obviously it shows year to date or quarter to date. Now, wages over 100,000 are excluded from this. So you can spend up to 100,000 for the PPP, but anything over 100,000 is not eligible. So you'll notice that good old Tom Brady works for this company, and he's highly compensated. So this report is showing, okay, we're forecasting he's going to be over 100,000. Here's the wages for that particular period. However, the wages in excess of 100,000 are going to be excluded. So you'll notice that it takes 10,000, takes out the number it's going to be over 100,000 by, and then it gives you the quote unquote eligible wages, because this loan is only covering wages up to $100,000 per employee. So you'll just notice it gives employee by employee wages so far, excludes anything over 100,000, and then this is probably the most important column, eligible wages. So you come down here, and so now it's telling you, okay, you had 19,000 this particular week on payroll. Only roughly 15,000 of that is going to be eligible, and just kind of keeps you in line, or keeps you so you can forecast where you're at with spending your money. The other part of this is FTEs. I'm sure all of you have heard about full-time equivalents. And so what our report does is it, again, gives your employees, and then it factors in, how they count towards full-time equivalents. So you'll notice that this particular person might be salary, so they're a 1.00 or one full-time equivalent. Now this person might be, they work about 70%. So that's factored in at 0.67 of a full-time equivalent. So anyway, at the end, it just gives you a nice clean total, so you can, keep track of where you're at with your FTEs, as well as the money that you spent towards payroll. And it just allows you to stay in line so that you can know where you're at with your bank.
Dave, this is really helpful. I know that the whole PPP process and the FTEs, it's been very confusing for our restaurants here in Connecticut. And it's great that Datapay was able to pull this reporting together and make it available. And I know you also get a lot of questions, I'm sure. It's nice to have this report that puts all the data in a nice clean format. But I know that you also field a lot of questions from your clients, and also sometimes when we get questions at the CRA, sometimes we connect them with you to talk through some of these things. So really great that you're able to help your clients and help restaurants get through this process, because we know it's been a difficult and confusing and stressful process. So this reporting is great.
Definitely. Yeah. So we wanted to build this tool so you don't have to, know every intricacy of it, but at least you can look at it know where you're at week by week. And then when you get to the end of the forgiveness period, be able to furnish this to your bank so that most importantly, they forgive the loan. And then one other thing I'll just show in this report, they do take into consideration state unemployment tax. They are forgiving that as part of the overall number. So this just shows actually per pay period as well as a total where you're at for Connecticut unemployment, because that is an employer tax that will be included in the forgiveness piece. So that's basically it as far as this report is concerned. So all we need to know is your loan date. We build that and include that in the reports that we give you every pay period. And again, you can gauge it and look at it week by week until you get to your overall figure. The only other things I just wanted to talk about real quick is, and actually I didn't click the right button, but you know, one other thing that we've been able to do in COVID times right now is we've been able to build some great solutions for people for time and attendance. So obviously the concern right now is, you know, things that people are touching and things like that. So we've been able to put in a nice time and attendance solution where people can clock in and clock out via their phone. There's actually an app, there's a Datapay app that people can clock in and clock out. They can clock in via the web. So when people come in the morning, they just go to a website and they just type in a username and password. They can clock in, they can clock out. They can even request paid time off in that particular portal. And so it's a real hands-free way for people to have time and attendance without touching a screen that maybe other people are touching. And most importantly, all that software is completely integrated with our payroll software. So just quick, you know, how it would work. Employees clock in and clock out via their smartphone, via their computer. And then the manager or owner at the end of the week just goes in, makes sure that there's no missing punches. If there are, the system will alert them to that. They just simply make a change to that time or punch in. And then once they're good, then they come in here, and this is our payroll software. This is what we call our Platinum Pay Express product. It's a very to the point system, doesn't have a whole lot of complexity to it. And there's three main tabs. There's a payroll tab. So once you've verified your time and attendance, you can come over here to payroll and actually just hit start payroll. It'll integrate all the hours. So they're automatically in the grid. Just make sure everything looks good and you hit submit. And then at that point, you can come over here to reports and run any kind of report that you want to run. And then last but not least, there's a great employee HR tool where you can have all your employees' data right at your fingertips, where you just come over here, click your employee, and let's say you want to update how they claim for taxes, come over here to tax info, and you can update how they claim for taxes. You can set up a new deduction. You can change their direct deposit. So we developed this system to just be, as the name implies, Platinum Pay Express, to the point. You can come in here because we know that restaurants don't want to spend all week, you know, on payroll. So generally they can spend 10 to 15 minutes making some employee changes, running some reports, and then submitting their payroll. So,
Dave, you mentioned earlier how you really understand the unique issues that restaurants face. And I just wanted to go back to that because, as we know, restaurants are a little different than other small businesses. And you also mentioned the tip credit. So there's a lot of things that that are different within this industry. And one of the things for you being so closely engaged with the CRA, I mean, obviously this is your business to stay on top of how, you know, how all of these regulations and issues, and as things change, you need to be able to keep the payroll side current. But for example, we just had a law in Connecticut that has recently changed regarding the tip credit. So that's something that I know you are always current on, what compliance is, what regulations, what new laws, and how that impacts the business. And you make it seamless and easy. I know recently, few weeks ago, we even talked about, we had a member who was inquiring about switching tipping from, you know, cash into payroll. And that was something that you made really easy for us, and also helping this restaurant owner. So I just want to point that out again, because that's such a big thing where it's some of these things are so confusing, and you're a valuable resource and you know, in general throughout the year to all of your clients. But for us and the partnership that we have with the association, we really appreciate everything that you do and your professionalism.
Yeah, thank you. So actually, if I can just touch upon that real quick. So yes, a couple things. When people submit their payroll online with us, if an employee did not claim enough in tips, our system is very proactive at throwing an error and saying, hey, Mary Smith claimed 200 hours. She got paid at server minimum. However, she needed to claim at least 250. So it'll say, look, you need to bump up her tips by $50. And it won't let you submit it until you make a change to that. You either pay that, you either increase their hourly rate or you increase the tips. So no payrolls go out the door from us that are wrong or people not being paid correctly. And then last but not least, thanks for bringing up the credit versus cash tips. So yeah, just in a nutshell, how that works is when people do cash tips, we're assuming that they were quote unquote cashed out. They received those tips at the end of their shift or at the end of the week. And when clients report cash tips to us, we're just simply taking out the tax. But more and more restaurants, due to cash flow and there's just not as much cash in the restaurant anymore because people pay with credit cards. A lot of restaurants are changing to quote unquote credit tips. And that just means that the employee will not get the tip at the end of the shift, but rather it will be paid in their check on payday. So when companies report dollars and credit tips, we're paying that in their paycheck. So yeah, great point. And however the company wants to do it, we're equipped to handle it.
Can you show us, Dave? I know on your website there's a contact us page. Can you tell us how restaurants can reach you? How can they find you? How can they connect with you?
Yes, definitely. So this is our main website here. You'll notice that good old Tyler Anderson back in the day here, when he was starting out in his illustrious career, is right here on our website because it's a younger Tyler Anderson. But anyway, people can just come, right to contact us right on our website here. And there we go. That's, as you can see, we have 5 offices right here locally in Connecticut and Farmington. We're in Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, and South Carolina. So that is our main number, 860-677-0041, 860-677-0041. And then what I'll also do is give you my information, which is, of course, not on this website. But anyway, I'll just read it off. It's 860-751-9057. That is my direct cell phone number. Would love to chat with anyone. And if you have any questions on anything that's going on or anything payroll related, we'd love to chat with anyone and everyone.
Dave, we'll put the contact information also in the description with the video. And I also just want to mention, I know that you have incentives specifically for CRA members. So if you're a CRA member, make sure when you talk to Dave, you mention that. But I know, as I mentioned, you've been a tremendous resource to all restaurants and many that reach out to us that aren't yet Datapay clients, but you've been very generous and supportive of everybody that's reached out that has needed help during these difficult times. So thank you so much, Dave, for being here and everything that you do, and for Datapay being such an important relationship with the CRA as our endorsed partner payroll provider. Please reach out to Dave, and we wish everybody the best. Thank you, Dave.
All right. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Have a great day.